Okay, so today our discussion will focus on just one topic, and it is positioning a brand. Okay. So, what do we mean by positioning a brand? Okay. So, first, let's talk about what are the great rivalries, brand rivalries that you know. So, obviously, on the slide, we have Jollibee versus McDonald's, but can you think of other brand rivalries that come to mind? Any other brand rivalries aside from Jollibee versus McDonald's? Ano pang naiisip natin when we think of rivals? Brand rivals or brand competitors?
Robinsons po, tsaka SM.
Okay, Robinsons versus SM. Mark, how about you?
Ano sir, Watson at saka Mercury Drugs.
So siya, Watson and Mercury Drug. Thank you. Si Chachu, baka may suggestion then or suggested rivalry that we can talk about? Okay, so quiet si Chachu. Baka may ginagawa pa. Don, can you talk about the rivalry that you mentioned?
Sir, for example po, ay dito na rin pala. Sir, dati po kasi sa Laguna, napa-destino po kami ng 1 year. Tapos magkatapat po si Robinsons tsaka si SM po.
Mm-hmm.
Tapos doon din po sa Dasma, magkatapat din po si Robinsons tsaka si SM. Tapos ngayon po sa atin, dito po sa park namin, sa may gentry po, magkalapit po, isang jeep lang po, si Robinson tsaka si SM.
Okay. Pero sino yung mas gusto mo? Robinsons or SM?
Ano po, sir? Hati rin po kasi, depende po sa branch ng kung saan po located. Pero most of the time po parang SM po kasi mas maliwanag po yung ambience ng mall.
Okay. So, mas gusto mo yung ambience ng SM. And then, thank you, Don. Let's try Mark. How about you, Mark? Opo. Watsons and Mercury.
Ano sir, yung Mercury, kilala sila dun sa gamot lang. Tapos yung sa 24/7 na service nila. Tapos yung Watson naman po is more on beauty products sila kilala sir. Tsaka ano sila sa SM, malakas ang kapit.
Okay. So, sino sa dalawa ang mas gusto mo?
Sa beauty products, Sir Watson. Pero sa gamot, Mercury Drugs.
Okay, so depende sa product. Thank you, Mark. Okay, so what is positioning? So positioning, it's basically a strategy that the ad agency and the client it has used to influence how a particular market segment perceives a good or service if it compares it to other services or products. So what's really important about positioning is it makes the ad more effective by clarifying the message. So for example, when you think of Jollibee advertisements, they have a very different communication message from McDonald's advertisements. These two restaurants, these two fast food restaurants, have very distinct images in the media. Okay? So, for example, if I were to ask you what comes to your mind when you think of Jollibee, anong pumapasok sa isipan natin kapag Jollibee ang pinag-uusapan? Yes, Don?
Chicken Joy po.
Chicken Joy, okay. So, ang perception ko, I could be wrong, this is just my perception, parang mas tina-target ang mga bata as customers ng Jollibee. And then usually McDonald's, it's more across different ages. But I could be wrong. Mark, what do you think? Or Sarlane, if Sarlane also wants to participate. Opo, Mark.
Pambata lang sir yung Jollibee.
Okay, so agree ka rin na mas focus nila mga kids. Okay. And then McDonald's, it's probably all the different ages. All right, so let's proceed. Okay, so as we just did, we defined a space in the mind. Because positioning is about defining a space in the mind. What does the customer think when they think about a product or service? And what do they associate with the product? So when I asked Dawn what she thinks of when she recalls Jollibee, the first thing that came to her mind was the product, which is Chicken Joy. Okay. And then in the next item, it says positioning is also about how we think of a product relative to the competitor. Okay, so the competition, relative to the competition. And you could think of it this way: is this product or service less expensive? Does it perform better? Or if it's maybe clothing, does it fit better? Or in this case, fit better here refers to the lifestyle, not actually how clothes fit. It's more about does it fit better with the customer's lifestyle. So some products, when you watch their ads, they're more about a kind of lifestyle, how people live, and that's how they differentiate themselves from the competition. Okay, so if there are no questions, we proceed. Now, the cool thing about all the topics we've been discussing since we started with the final is they build on each other. So if you start watching the YouTube videos just now, some of the topics related to today's topic might not be so familiar. For example, behavioral segmentation. So we've talked about that already in a previous video. So the best thing to do is hopefully you've been watching the YouTube videos from the start because every topic builds on the previous topic. Okay, so when we talk about behavioral segmentation, we categorize the potential customers. So, what's the connection between behavioral segmentation and the brand strategic objectives or the brand strategy? So, let's look at the first category that is given as an example. So, in this category, people do not use the advertised product. They're not using the product. So therefore, the objective uh, of the brand's positioning or the strategic planning would be we have to convert these non-users into users. We have to grow the market. Okay. Hi, mom. All right. And then the second item is what about the categories where um, the customer uses the competition's product. Okay, so this is a little more difficult, and the objective will be different. So what's the objective here? Anong objective natin if the customer, the potential customer, is not using our product or service, rather they're using the competition's product or service. So kanina, the objective is to convert non-users to users. How about this one, this other category? What's the objective now? Anyone? It's in the slide. You can just read if you want. Okay, no one wants to read. So,
Yung pangalawa ba yan, sir?
yes po, opo.
Users a competitor's version of the advertised product category. The company wants to gain market share at the expense of competitors by creating or capturing band switchers. Ay,
Okay, thank you so much. So kanina, we want to convert non-users to users. We want to grow the market. This time, we want people to switch brands. That's why we say we want to create or capture brand switchers. Notice the use of the word capture, meaning pag nag-switch na sila, wag na natin sila pakawalan. Okay, that's why we're trying to convince them to choose our brand or our service or our product. And so let's proceed. What are the other categories if we're going to go by behavioral segmentation? So the third one is they're using our product, but it's an alternative version of the product we're advertising. So maybe it's a cheaper version of the product we're advertising. So what do we want to do? We want to upsell, okay? We want them to go from patronizing our budget product to the more expensive version of the product. And later on, we're going to talk about which brands have a budget version and then a pricier, more expensive version of a product or service. Okay. And the final category is, okay, they're using the advertised product. So should we be happy and complacent and not do anything if that's the case? So obviously no, because there's so much competition. We can't afford to relax our advertising efforts if we are the client of the in the ad sorry if we are the client of a particular product that we want advertised. So what's the case here? We want to increase the frequency or volume of purchases. So tinatangkilik na nila yung ating produkto, but we want them to keep buying more often. So mas malimit sana silang bumili as a result of our advertising efforts. Or we want to increase the volume of the purchases. So what does it mean? We want them to buy more. We want them to buy more often, and we want them also to buy more of the product or to frequent the service so that we can increase revenue, for example, if we are a company advertising. All right, so if there are no comments, right. So how do we position our product, our brand, or our service? So we go about this by considering what we call positioning dimensions, okay? And the first of these dimensions is value. Okay, so what does value mean? The product reaches price-sensitive customers by being low cost. Okay, so when we speak of value, we're offering a product which has a lot of value, even though we're offering it at a relatively low cost to the customer. So some customers, what they consider the most in choosing a product is the price. Okay, so here are some examples. These are American examples. The Gap, these are all clothing stores, clothing brands, by the way. The Gap is mid-price. So it's not too expensive, but it's also not a bargain price or not a budget price. The Gap has a sister company called Banana Republic. And Banana Republic, on the other hand, it's the pricier product line. So they sell more expensive clothes. Now, they also have another company related to them, and it's Old Navy. So on the other hand, Old Navy is what we call the value-priced offering. Okay, so it's not just limited to clothes. We also have an example for cars. So Volkswagen, or Volkswagen, if you're speaking with a German accent, they have Skoda. And what is Skoda? It's the low-cost car brand, which is manufactured by the same people behind Volkswagen. Now let's think about Philippine examples. Let's think about telcos, telecommunication companies, for example. So what is the value-priced offering of Globe? So Globe is like the main brand, but they have a sub-brand, a more affordable brand or value-priced offering. What is the value-priced offering of Globe?
TM.
TM, okay.